Hey everyone, welcome back to 996, the Howl. We're at the 50-game progress report. Unbelievable stuff by the Utah Mammoth in the past 10 games. I could not have predicted this. No one could have predicted this. At the 40-game progress report, if you go and look back, they were one game below 500. We were talking about before the 7-game homestand, if they don't play well, this team could be selling off at the trade deadline, but they went 6-0-1 on that 7-game homestand. I said they had to go 5 wins in those 7 games, and they one up me and go 6-0-1. They get 13 out of a possible 14 points. In the past 10 games are 8-1-1 from games 40 to 50. Their best 10-game stretch this season, better than games 1 to 10, where they went 8-2-0. And to top it all off, the cherry on top of this amazing cake, they score an extra attacking goal for the first time in franchise history. It took them 132 games to score with their goalie pulled. Great side. They come back from a 3-0 win, 3-0 deficit last night against the Philadelphia Flyers in overtime. The captain, Clayton Keller, so many good vibes around this team the past 10 games. Much needed good vibes, because from games 10 to 40, it was just pretty bad. Up and down, win, lose. And now finally it seems like they unlocked that next gear, and there's going to be one more gear to unlock after the Olympic break for that playoff push. They did it last year with the hockey club. After 4 Nations, they played some of the best hockey in the league. They got to do it again. Hopefully Logan Cooley is injected into the lineup at 100% during that time. And this team could be looking at a playoff spot. So let's go to the stats. They're 15th in the league in terms of absolute points, 26, 20, and 4, 6 games above NHL 500. Their points percentage is 16th in the league at 560, way up from 488. At the 40-game progress report, they were 27th in the league in terms of point percentage, jumping up to 16. Goals for per game, above 3 goals per game. Groovy, gravy, perfect at 3.16, good for 16th in the league. That has increased from just under 3 at the 40-game mark. And then goals against per game is 6th in the league, jumping from 21st in the league at the 40-game progress report, and now it's at 2.78. Love to see that, way below 3 goals against per game. That's credit to Vejmelka and credit to the defense as well, especially Schmidt and Marino. We'll get to players a little bit later. And power play, awful, just straight awful. It's been awful since game number 10, where they had 22% success rate on the power play. For the past 10 games, they went 4 for 26, which is good for 15%. The only bright spot for the power play is they scored last night against Philadelphia to bring the game within 1. So at least finally the power play does something good. I know it stayed the same, but I gave it a red arrow because there's nothing good to talk about the power play. PK has been dropping steadily like the past 20 games. The past 10 games have been really rough for the PK, killing 26 of 35 in the past 10. That's a 74% rate. Their PK needs to be a lot better. Maybe we take a look at Hayden. He played a minute per game on the PK last season, but this season not playing any PK. So maybe it's time to start switching up the personnel, because they've been showing a lot of cracks in their armor. They're down at 12th in the league on the PK, out of the top 10, and almost down 2% from the 40-game mark. Save percentage increased a lot to 18th in the league at 891. That's probably and is being brought down by Vanacek's numbers, even though he only played 1 game in the past 10 games. Shooting percentage is shooting up to 15th in the league. Love to see that. Shots on goal and shots on goal against. The shots on goal against is like increasing every 10-game block. I don't like that. Even the gap between shots on goal for and shots on goal against is shrinking. At the 10-game mark, it was like a 5-shot gap, which was amazing in terms of shots for and shots against. You were +5 on the shots for. Now it's shrinking down to just under 3. So I want to see that gap broaden a little bit. They were first in the league in shots on goal against. Now they're dropping down to 5th. So again, a little bit concerning there, but they're winning games. Everything's gravy here for the Mammoth. Faceoffs is shooting up as well. Great to see that, almost at 49%. Let's see that get over 50% at the 60-game mark. Hayden and Stenlund are the top two faceoff guys for the Mammoth, and it's probably going up because Cooley's not playing, who was he is bad at faceoffs. He needs to learn and develop that skill, hopefully in the offseason. But with him out of the lineup, obviously it seems like the faceoff percentage is increasing, and hits, they're winning. They're having a lot more 5-on-5 possession. They're dominating some games. They had a couple blowout wins against the Leafs and against the Islanders. They had some tight checking games that they come through and break through against Dallas, an elite team, and then against Ottawa and St. Louis, tight checking games, and then comeback victories against Seattle and in dramatic fashion against the Flyers. So the fact that they're winning, scoring, playing dominant with possession, and also hitting more, that's great to see. I love to see that hitting number increase, as well as a team winning and playing great 5-on-5 analytically. So hits per game has increased almost a hit and a half per game. Great stuff by the Utah Mammoth. Now we'll get to individual players. I mentioned Schmidt and Marino. I'm going to do a deeper dive on those two players during the Olympic break. But yeah, I've seen the graphs. I've seen the graphics on the broadcast, online. They're like both Schmidt and Marino, that second pair, they're tops in the league in terms of plus minus, in terms of more goals for than against when they're on the ice, especially 5-on-5. And goals percentage, they showed that graphic last night in that Philadelphia game where they're leading the league in terms of when that pairing is on the ice. Utah is scoring 70% of the goal share as opposed to the opposing team only scoring 30%. So that's great stuff by John Marino and Nate Schmidt. But you know, this win streak, this unbelievable streak the Mammoth are on, it's due to the top players in Keller and Schmaltz and some other supporting cast members. But Clayton Keller has 16 points in the past 10 games. Have you heard this around the league? No one talks about Clayton Keller. He was, he had a rough patch in this season. Obviously, personal off-ice issues with the passing of his fathers. I didn't criticize him at all, gave him time and space, and was patient for him to come back. And after being named to the Team USA Olympic team, this guy has just carried the team on his back. He was at like 33 points in 40 games at the 40-game progress report, and now he's pretty much at a point per game, which is his normal career standard. He's got 49 points in 50 games played. Like I said, 16 points in the past 10 games is elite stuff, folks. And then Nick Schmaltz is right behind him, 13 points in the past 10 games. Give this guy a contract. I got a Schmaltz video locked and loaded for the Olympic break. We're going to do a deep dive on Nick Schmaltz and why I want to keep him and lock him up. He's got 46 points in 50 games played. He's on pace to beat his career highs in goals, assists, and points, so hopefully he keeps it up. Dylan Guenther leads the team in goals with 23. I thought it was 24, and then I look at the stats this morning, and they took away Guenther's goal on that power play against Philadelphia. They gave it to Hayden. Great to see Hayden bounce back. He's got goals in back-to-back games. He had an empty netter in one game, and now he scores on the power play. So Hayden's scoring recently. Guenther, 43 points in 50 games played. He's got 11 points in the past 10 games. Krause, 9 points in the past 10 games. This guy looks like a new man. He is having that bounce back season I hoped for, and which is why I didn't want to trade him in the offseason. I wanted to trade, the other depth supporting guys that didn't do anything, Michelli, Bukestad, and Carconi. They kept Carconi. Carconi's having a great year. And Krause, he's having that bounce back. He's mentally healthy. He's comfortable in Utah. He looks fast. He looks agile. His shot is great. And 9 points in 10 games by the big man. Great stuff. He's on the top line with Schmaltz and Keller now. Peterka would like a little bit more out of him. 5 points. 5 points in the past 10 games. Thankfully, he scored against the Philadelphia Flyers. But, 5 out of 10, you're playing top 6 minutes. Would like a little bit more, but like that he's got 17 goals on the season. He is matching his career pace in terms of goal scoring, but his point pace is a little bit lower than it was in Buffalo. Schmidt and Marino's got 7 points in the past 10 games, and Nate Schmidt 6 points in the past 10 games. Sergachev, maybe a little bit more too, but he's got 6 points in the past 10 games. At least he's leading the defense in points, which he should be. I just don't like this gap here of 10 points between Gunther and Peterka. I would wish that Peterka had more points, and I know we're missing Cooley, who would probably be around there as well, but a little bit too much of a gap for me in the top 6. Some other players who I would like a little bit more from. Hayden's got 6 and 10, so I guess that's good, but would like, that consistently from Barrett Hayden. Daniel Boot, 3 points in the past 10 games. They took away an assist from Boot as well last night. I don't know why. That was a clear assist he had on Peterka's goal, but they take it away. He has 3 points in the past 10 games. Just needs some more production and execution from Boot, but I know he's young. I know he's still raw, but, would like some more. I like his instincts. I love that he goes to the inside of the ice. He's not a perimeter player. He's driving the net a little bit more. He's in the good spots. Just need to execute and put the puck in the net, because there's a lot of other players on the team who cannot put puck in net. Hayden especially. But then we'll move on to the goaltenders. Vejmelka played 9 out of the 10 games, and he went 8-1-1, 8-1. What did he go? 8-1, I believe, because Vanacek only played 1 game and went 0-1. The lone game Vanacek played was against the Columbus Blue Jackets. But let's get back to Vejmelka. Leads the NHL and wins for 24, 11-2. Elite goaltending numbers. He's finally at 900 save percentage. I love everything about Vejmelka. Sure, a little bit shaky in that Seattle game, maybe that Philadelphia game as well. But I think the cause of that Philadelphia game where they went down 3-0 early was just bad discipline, bad defensive coverage, and too much rest, and started the game really slow. I wouldn't put it all on Vejmelka, but he didn't win those games. Well, he had a great save against Philadelphia on a 2-on-1 with that glove save. Unbelievable. That was another turning point in that game for a huge save. But Vejmelka, since being named to Team Czechia, the Olympics, he's been unbelievable. He's been the goalie we saw last year when we started him 23 games in a row. He had 6 games above 900 save percentage in the past 10 games. So great stuff by Karel Vejmelka there, backstopping the Mammoth to coming out of their rut. And can they sustain this pace? Probably not. 8-1-1 in your last 10, pretty unsustainable. But from here on out, what they need to do is play above 500 hockey. So they got a 4-game road trip coming up. Nashville, big playoff implication game on Saturday, and then 3 games in the East, back-to-backs in Florida, and then Carolina. You need to win, or at least get a point against Nashville for sure, because they're biting at your heels. They're 5th in the Central, Utah's 4th, and you want to broaden that gap, and this is a perfect game to broaden that gap. We call these 4-point swings between divisional rivals. And then on that East trip, 3 games, at least win 1 of those 3. If you win in Nashville, you could win only 1 out of those 3 Eastern games. I don't expect them to win like all 3 or 2 out of the 3, especially the back-to-back in Florida. That's going to be really hard. And then you got an elite team in Carolina. So win 1 of those 3, but make sure you at least get a point against Nashville. That is a huge playoff implication and divisional game. And then you got a 3-game homestand right before the Olympics. Again, you could win 2 out of the 3 or go 1-1-1. But you afforded yourself, you could have some bad nights, but as long as you just don't go into this bad habit, bad streak, like what happened right after the 10-game mark where they lost to Edmonton, and then for 30 games just couldn't get back to that standard of hockey. They got that standard of hockey right now. You just got to play consistent with it and don't lose it. And with the Olympic break, it's like 2.5 weeks off, and they do get a lot of practice time. I believe it's like 5 days before the NHL starts up. They get 5 days of practice time if they want to practice every day, but that's what they're allowed to do by the NHL. They're allowed to practice, I believe, 5 days before the NHL starts back up. So that's going to be Andre Tourigny's job to get the guys ready. And after the Olympic break, just get them playing to the standard we've been seeing the past 10 games. But I know it's not always going to be winning games almost every single game. This is great. They pulled themselves out of that mess that they dug themselves in. And this is the standard of Mammoth hockey to play for the rest of the season, basically. That they got a really good odds to make the playoffs. It is crazy to see. A lot of these, public analytical stat metrics are showing Utah as like a 60 to 70% chance of making the playoffs. And they can't fumble it now. And I don't want to jinx it, but we're relying on Vejmelka a lot, and you never know what could happen if you do that. But the vibes are high. The Mammoth are in a playoff spot. They're playing amazingly. One of the best teams in the past 10 games. Really great to see, and great job by Keller, Schmaltz, Kraus, Schmidt, Marino, Vejmelka, just leading this team and showing the team this is how you play night in and night out. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, spread the word. And as always, thank you for your support.